G'day guys, and today Shorty and I are going to do our tips for round 11.
You keen for it?
Sort of. We're going to get loose Saturday night.
I plan to. Are you?
A few drinks to the game. Yeah, see how we go, mate.
Mm.
Yeah, we won't tell that one too much in the public forum. North Melbourne and Richmond at BA, which is Blundstone Arena.
Sure is, mate. Interesting game to have on the Friday night.
I didn't get my summarisation there. North finally got a reality check. Wake up call, down to earth. Against a good team in Sydney, and Richmond did what they had to do.
Thank you, mate.
Now you can go.
Couldn't do this tip without you, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I've tipped North by 19 points. And I
Crazy.
I just think they'll be too good for the Tigers, even though the Richmond Footy Club are impressing a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think North will bounce back.
Nice enough, mate. I'm going North Melbourne by 20 points, so I just had one of yours. That's why I was laughing heavily then. Yeah, North are just a little bit classy at the moment, I think. Richmond have won 3 in a row and have battled well, but I think Blundstone really heavily sways me. If it was at the G, I'd maybe think about the Tigers, but North's record against them traditionally is overwhelming. Hawthorn and Melbourne at the MCG. So the Hawks got the job done against the Lions. Struck late, and Demons disappointing.
They were, but I think the D's in Alice Springs just doesn't bond with them. They struggle to play there.
I don't like it.
So while they were poor, I won't be reading stacks into it.
Yeah.
And Hawthorn were only really good for, say, a quarter or so. I think this will be a relatively close game.
Wow, look at this, guys.
I've tipped Hawthorn by 20 points.
20 points, alright.
But I think Melbourne, like the Lions did, will be relatively competitive for a reasonable stretch.
Yep.
And I think it can all start in the ruck. If Gawn has a good day against some average ruckman against the Hawks, it could really set that Melbourne midfield alight.
Yeah, interesting. I won the Hawks by 55 points. I think they'll still get it done pretty comfortably. But like you, mate, I expect it to be pretty contested and Gawny getting the job done. The Hawks are just the classiest side, as we know. But the D's will make them earn it and will make it a very tough and honest contest.
Absolutely, mate.
And they still somehow win by 9 goals. 9 goals. Yep.
Just kick away.
Yeah, they did against the Lions. So I'll go with the Hawks there. Carlton, Brisbane at Etihad Stadium. You can check out our review for how well Carlton did and how bad Geelong were. And Brisbane were good for 3 quarters.
They certainly were, and we saw firsthand of this new little Carlton team, which has plenty of purpose about it, and I've tipped them by 28 points.
Awesome, no, mate.
The Lions were better.
Yeah.
They've got a long way to go, and especially travelling, I don't think they'll do that very well.
Nicely played, mate. I think the Blues by 24 points. They're in the form of their lives at the moment. Probably haven't played this kind of footy for 5 years, so they're up to their, they're doing fantastic at the moment. Beating us as well. It'll be very tough at Etihad for the Lions.
Certainly will.
Geelong and GWS at Simmons Stadium. A bit more of an in-depth discussion on this in the review.
Absolutely, mate. We tear it to shreds, even though we're slightly salty about it.
Oh, yeah.
I've tipped the Giants by 4 points.
The Giants, yep.
I think, you can see what I have to say in the review. Have a look at it. Do it.
Do it. Okay, I'm going the Giants by 17 points. Yeah, it really is long-winded, boy. I think they'll win. So, I think the way they play exposes the way we play, but we've got more in-depth thoughts in the review right at the end of the video. Gold Coast and the Sydney Swans at Metricon Stadium at home for the Gold Coast, but Sydney in good form, Gold Coast couldn't be any worse.
Yeah, Sydney have a great outfit, aren't they? I've tipped them by 47 points, and they don't get talked about too much about real contenders, do they? I mean, there's been a fair bit of love for us in the past. The Hawks, of course. The Giants,
North Melbourne
we talked about, their wonderful start to the year. Sydney are the sleepers of the top 4.
The sleeping Giants,
and
mate.
I think they'll notch up another solid win here against a depleted Gold Coast.
Solid, mate. I've gone the Swannies by 43 points. Pretty close again there, mate. Yeah, not Giants. Gold Coast is struggling a little bit at the moment, as it's been well documented, and the Swannies in really good touch at the moment, and it shouldn't be too hard for them to get a win.
Very cool.
Fremantle and Essendon at Domain Stadium, the battle for the wooden spoon.
Yeah, and ironically, I sort of love these sort of games where it's great to see the top of the table clashes, But at the end of the day, you sort of know whoever loses that is kind of going to bounce back anyway, because they're second.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get these two awful clubs who are just struggling for circumstances of their own, for the loser, it's as low as it gets. This is probably what most players are looking at in the calendar going, this is our real chance to have a win. And
Absolutely.
if you lose, it's pretty crushing.
And both teams would be thinking exactly the same thing.
Yeah, which makes it juicy. But I've tipped the Dockers by 12 points. I just think the Bombers, they're showing okay signs, but it's another thing to travel over there and win against a side that show glimpses of what they can do against the Saints.
Yep.
I think they're stringing it together for quarters now. I think it'll be a pretty scrappy, not an overly pretty game.
Yep.
And I think the Dockers might like that as well.
They do, mate. I've tipped Fremantle by 4 points, but not with a great deal of confidence, as said by the margin. Bombers do traditionally go right over there, but even still, I think if there's a game Fremantle are going to win, this will have to be the one, but I'll say that for the Bombers as well. So you can mount a case either way. If it was in Melbourne, I'd be tipping the Bombers in a heartbeat.
Yep, I agree.
The home ground advantage, eh? Collingwood and Port Adelaide at the MCG. The Pies ran out of legs. Ran out of players to change in the rotations, and Port Adelaide did the job nicely against Melbourne.
Yeah, I tipped the Pies by 23 points. Port Adelaide are yet to convince me that they're the real deal. I think they can do it against certain sides. They can do it at home sometimes, but they're yet to really do it when they're expected to, I suppose.
Absolutely.
And this is a sort of game that, they're 5-5 now, so they've almost got a bit of a sniff about reigniting their season, and that seems to be when they fail. They can do it when they're down and against it, but when they need to win and away against a pretty hungry Collingwood, I think they'll have their work cut out.
Definitely, mate. I've gone the Pies by 9 points. I think it'll be somewhat close. Port Adelaide, they give you a good contest. Collingwood have been reinvigorated, basically. Yeah. They've been in some pretty good form. Just went down to the Dogs by a few goals. Late in the piece with 4 injuries, so that was pretty,
unlucky.
Yeah, very unlucky. I think the Pies should just have a bit too much class around the ball and get the job done.
Nice.
Western Bulldogs, not to mention it's at the G. So.
That's right,
Western Bulldogs and the West Coast Eagles at Etihad Stadium. The Eagles are doing the job nicely against the Suns as we speak, and the Dogs got over the line against Collingwood. Etihad Stadium, though.
Yeah, good game this one. Is this a 3:20? Is this on TV?
I'm guessing so. It's in the middle of the Sunday, so yep.
Sounds good, mate. That'll be a good one to have a watch on. But I think the Doggies will have a win here. I've tipped them by 16 points.
Yep.
And again, a bit like how Port Adelaide are yet to prove themselves, the Eagles are really yet to prove that they can win away from Perth. So, not albeit against really quality opposition. The Dogs, while they're maybe not at their free-flowing best, not scoring the house down like they once were, they're starting to play some nuggety footy.
Yeah.
And that's just as important. So
that's where it all starts.
I think they'll get the 4 points.
Much like you, mate. I think the Dogs by 19 points. Etihad basically is the main reason. If it was at Domain, we'd probably tip West Coast and maybe Flat Track Bullies again. So, I think they'll just be a bit tighter, and they do love a good win at Etihad. Don't lose there very often, and the Eagles don't win away very well.
No, they don't.
So, there you go. That's why I've tipped the Dogs. Adelaide and St Kilda to wrap it up at Adelaide Oval, and the Crows, a very nice win against the Giants, which they'll be happy about. And the Saints, they just went bang in the last quarter.
They did. And the Saints show signs that they're really improving, and from week to week show a fair bit of promise, but again, so often, as we say, it's so difficult to win away from home.
Yeah.
Let alone being a pretty youthful side that hasn't strung too many wins together on the road. And I think Adelaide will have reasonable amount of confidence with that win over the Giants, which, I think we both probably favoured the Giants, but so a good win there. And I'll tip the Crows by 30 points.
Sounds good, mate. I've gone the Crows by 32 points.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Yeah, sometimes they just
find a way. They do it independently too, guys.
Yeah, just so you know. Yep. Find a way to do that, yep. Adelaide Oval again, just tipping those home ground wins.
Yeah.
They're just hard to win away, so unless you're a great side, we're not going to tip you too often. So, the Saints are a great young side, but they'll they'll have their work cut out. I think big forward line to take care of, and they don't win at Adelaide Oval too often. I think they probably haven't yet. So
probably not.
No. Poor guys. Those are our tips. Feel free to give them a like. Don't forget to share it around, and don't forget to subscribe as well. That'd be great. Thanks for hanging around. We'll see you guys all next time.